Hey guys, Fatman here. I'm doing a contest video for um, Angry Unboxing Nerds 100 subscriber giveaway, also known as Mike Tap That Ass. Just joking, Mike. It's a good name though, Mike Tap. I like that. You can put tap with anything, ass, keg, anything you want, really. So Mike's running a contest. You got one entry for making a comment, and then two entries for making a video. The video question was, what was the first horror movie you saw in the theater, who you were with, and did you make it all the way through? This one, hold on, coffee. This one was a little difficult because I didn't see actual horror movies growing up. My parents were very religious, and my mother was very religious. Grew up in a strict Methodist home, and so I didn't, from being a child until probably, I think I was about 15 and a half, was the first. I I still consider this a horror movie. Um, I had seen, now previous to this, I had seen horror movies. Previous to being 15 and a half, I'd seen a lot of horror movies, but not in the theater. I had seen a lot, spending the night at friends' houses. I had seen, some of the Friday the 13th, especially a lot of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, a lot of the 80s classic horror movies that I grew up on. My mom, unaware of all of this. Now, at around 11 or 12, I was allowed to see Jaws. My parents were big fans of Jaws. My parents were mostly into science fiction and action adventure. Like, I could watch all of the Rambos, but anything to do with horror or anything that had sex in it, I just absolutely couldn't see it. I mean, I could watch any kind of action film with, explosions and death and destruction, but anyway, whatever. But I do remember about 15 and a half, The Crow came out. And by the trailer, you couldn't really see too much about what the movie was. It kind of looked like an action film. And we kind of convinced my mother that it was an action film, but it was rated R. We were 15 and a half, so of course we had to be accompanied by an adult. My mom wouldn't let us go by ourselves. Because at that time, like, if your mom walked up to the window with you, she'd vouch for you and she could let you in. And some theaters did that. The Rio, we had a little theater called the Rio, and it played one movie at a time. Well, sometimes they had played double features, but I remember we convinced me and two of my good friends growing up, convinced my mom to take us to go see The Crow. Unbeknownst to her, what The Crow really was about and what it contained. So we get in there, and the first little bit, there's the rape, and it doesn't show much. There's the rape and murder of his wife in the beginning, and then him being thrown out the window and dying, and she was a little, you could tell she was getting a little uncomfortable, and then the movie kind of calms down, but then it was like them sitting at the table and Devil's Night, and then all the scene that she finally got, that she had enough, was the scene where they're shooting up heroin, and then the bathtub, and he squeezes her arm and the heroin comes out, and and then I think there's the scene with the eyeball where he cuts the eyeball out of the woman, and by then she had just like had it, and she just flipped out and made us all three get up out of the seats and leave the theater, and she was super upset with us. So yes, I did see a horror movie in the theaters as a kid, I guess as a kid, with two of my good friends, which was super embarrassing that my mom didn't, because we all wanted to see The Crow really bad because it's based on a comic book that we had all read, and it was a badass movie. I mean, it's come to be one of my favorite. Now it's fairly tame compared to that, which is so funny now because my mom watches way worse stuff than that. I mean, if you even put it up against The Walking Dead, I mean, it's pretty tame even in comparison to The Walking Dead, and she loves The Walking Dead. So she's come a long ways, but that was the movie that was my first actual horror movie that I saw in the theaters with friends, and then I didn't make it through it because she made us all leave. the theater. She did that once before. This was a couple years earlier. It was a double feature. It was the first movie was a movie that had Dolph Lundgren. That's all I can remember. And in the first 10 minutes, it showed like a shower scene in a woman's bathroom, and it showed some naked women. And so we only made it like 10 minutes into the movie, and then she got pissed off and left. And she went and asked the guy, when did this movie end, so that we could come back. And I think the other movie was Rambo 3. And then we came back later, and he just let us in, and we watched Rambo 3. So and then the first actual, and then I think about a year and a half later when I was 17, the first actual horror movie I saw in the theaters was Interview with a Vampire. That was actually the first horror film that I actually saw in the theaters that was actually rated R. So there's my story, Mike. I hope you like it. I think it's cool that you're running a good contest. I think it's cool that you're throwing in something from your personal collection. So keep making videos, and that's it, guys. Cheers.